Okay, so let's move on to new business field trip requests. We have two. Model UN overnight trip to, and vocal music program student educational tour. So, Kristen, you want to talk about that?
The Model UN field trip is their annual conference that they go to at the University of Chicago. The conference simulates actual functions of the United Nations, and our school would be assigned a specific country that we would represent. And we approximately take about 15 students, and you can see we have 2 chaperones already articulated. Aaron Cunningham, who is the sponsor of Model UN, and then Kevin Turk, who's a social studies teacher. And there is an opportunity for financial assistance through the Model UN Nation at the University of Chicago, as well as fundraising through our Model UN group here as well.
I think there were questions submitted about the Disney trip.
Yes, there were no questions though about that one. So on the Disney trip, this is a great opportunity for students to experience what goes on in a Disney performance, and they also get to record an excerpt of a song. They learn audition skills, vocal techniques. So a few of the questions that were presented is, there is private security every night. There was a typo in that, so Diane is working to get that corrected. The instructional hours, they have 2 45-minute rehearsals. Their performance is 25 minutes, which is per Disney regulations. And then they also have the workshop as well.
We done this before?
Yes.
Yes.
When? Since I've been?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
It
they
pretty
did.
much goes every other year. So like 1 year the
Yes.
band goes, and 1 year the choir goes somewhere, and then 1 year the band goes somewhere.
It has
In
been.
fact, one time they made
Band was in Nashville
Nashville.
last year. Choir
They
went to
usually-
Italy the year before
And
that.
Tim, and the one time they were down at Disney World, they showed what they did with the Under the Sea or something like that. They played that whole thing.
Yeah, it's been a few years since they've been to Disney,
That's why
but they
I don't remember.
have
Yes,
gone
it's a
before.
principle. It's a 4-day, they're performing for 25 minutes. Is it good for students to miss 2 days of school to go spend most of the time riding rides in Disneyland for a 25-minute
They are actually only missing 1 day of school. They always plan this over President's Day weekend, so
Okay.
that they only miss 1 day of school.
Okay.
And while the performance is short and they have no control over that, they do have the workshop and then other
Okay.
practices as well.
Plus, it's
So-
a tour. It's not a field trip.
Correct.
So it's only if kids can pay for that.
Correct. So you also had a question on the sub costs, and that's.
You answered that question.
Yep.
It's
And
not a
then
school day.
the cost includes airfare, and then there were also questions on the chaperones. And so Diane doesn't secure chaperones until she has an estimate of how many students are going. She looks for, she doesn't consider herself a chaperone, and so she looks for having a ratio of 1 to 10, but 1 to 7 is even better depending on how many chaperones volunteer to go, because the chaperones do have to pay for the cost of the trip
Okay.
themselves.
But is it parents or staff?
Parents go, and they're parents or guardians of the current students that are on the trip.
All right, seeing that, how does the board feel about voting on this tonight?
Fine with it.
I'm okay with it.
All right, so can I have a motion on it, please?
In fact, I'd like to even thank them for the fact they came to us early. That
Yeah,
was a good
and I also
start
want to
for
thank
this
Butch
year.
Dig and Evan Facts too. Thank you. And I was in Model UN when, at Triton College, I was in Model UN, so.
So that explains everything.
And I was at the state government conference where you were not too, so. All right, so can I have a motion on this, please? John, you want to do
I'm
it?
trying to find it.
What page is motion on?
It is on page 132.
Resolved that the Board of Education, Township High School, District 208, Cook County, Illinois, hereby approves the Model UN Club's extracurricular field trip request to the Model UN Conference hosted at the Palmer House in Chicago from February 5th to 8th, 2015, and the Vocal Program Student Educational Tour to Orlando, Florida, from February 13th to the 16th, 2015, as presented in the September 9th, 2014 Board Agenda Packet.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ed Jepson. Any other discussion? Mary Ann?
Dr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Burchett?
Yes.
Ms. Ruska? Yes. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Cindy?
Yes.